Hello, this is the Archipelago. It looks super chill, and that's very welcome right now, so we do it. Haha. Autosaves, cool, wonderful. Every morning while you brew your tea, you stare out over the cliffs at the archipelago, squinting for signs of other lives across the gulfs. Oh. The city split, eh? Yeah, sure. We've lived through some historical events. That's our reality. You barely remember your parents. They were together during the split, and from the letters they send you, you get the sense that they're content. Mother's a talented artist, and sometimes she draws pieces of her island for you. They don't write as often now, not since your grandmother passed. You wonder whether they truly remember you. Different folks show up every day. Sometimes they bring something for you in return. Like food? Hell yeah! Give me food! Like vegetables from their garden. But even if they come empty-handed, you don't really mind. You have more than enough to go around. Every night, through clouds and fog, you watch the lanterns flicker to life on the next island over. Yeah, make up stories about how they spend their nights. But the stories always feel hazy and fanciful, spent in happy company, laughter echoing across the gulf. You've never heard anything from across the gulf. Clean up for the night and tuck yourself neatly into bed with a mantra. You're on steady ground. You are on steady ground. The words calm you enough to let you sleep. Tonight, though, you can't sleep. There's a mighty storm outside, strong enough to snap a small island in two. Something catches your eye. What the heck? How you do there? You can just barely spot the body flush against the cliff. It's still smoldering. Is it alive? You shimmy your raincoat over your head, light a lantern with quivering hands, and throw the door open. A new messenger. Do I have to click? I do. Haha, we did it. What's this? Oh, you gaze out your kitchen window at the island, take a deep breath, and begin preparing the tea for today. Which bass note would you like? Are you going to tell me what they are, or as soon as I click it, am I locked in? Is this rooibos? Oh, black tea. Malt, chestnut, hickory smoke. Ooh. Massage these leaves before laying them out to dry in the sun. Bruising the leaves with my fingers gives the tea a strong, deep taste. Green tea, spinach, cedar, pear. I steam these leaves over my soaking tub out back. The steaming gives them a fresher taste than my black tea. White tea, lily, fennel, persimmon. I always pick a few leaves at the start of the season and put them right out to dry in the sun. Flavors more delicate than my other teas. Oolong, beets, toffee, and cream. Interesting. I have to borrow Adelaide's oven overnight so that I can roast this tea at a low, consistent temperature. Rolling the leaves into balls is hard work. You know, honestly, right now I'm leaning towards this one. This one's interesting. Beets, toffee, and cream. And it's hard work. We got to appreciate our hard work. Do the oolong. Which mid note would you like? Is that lavender? Grow as many flowers as I can for the pollinators. Lucky for me, this one makes for great tea flavoring. Hell yeah. Ooh, barley tea. I roast this barley low and slow to bring out a nutty, almost smoky taste. Oh wait, I also have to consider this in combination with what I've already picked. Oh no, we're gonna make a terrible tea. Apple. Merrick smuggled the seeds for our apple trees. Took 8 seasons to bear fruit. Someday I hope we can tend to a whole orchard. Ooh, caramel. That would go well with the toffee cream flavor we got going on. Farah, who lives on the other side of the island, makes this caramel out of butter from her goat. She is too old to make the trek down here anymore. Yeah, let's have a sweet tea. Which high note would you like? Mint, the hardiest thing I've ever grown. This plant will outlive us all. Jasmine. Oh, hell yeah. I didn't think my jasmine plant would survive the windy season, but I've kept it outside year-round for 3 seasons now, and it's thriving. I should grow some jasmine. That would be great. I miss jasmine. Orange. Before the split, the city kept greenhouses full of orange trees. We only have one old tree left now in a glass dome by the textile mills. Don't know how much longer it's gonna last. One of my rose bushes. Wait, only one of my rose bushes produces the right petals for the tea. Surprisingly, it's the one with the faintest aroma. I want. Do I want jasmine or do I want? What does jasmine even taste like, actually? I know what it smells like. Does it taste like how it smells? Because that's strong. Let's put some orange in this. Yeah. Oh, put this. You're just gonna add a whole... Okay. Sure. Yep, totally. For today's brew, you've prepared oolong with caramel and orange peel. Is it good? Did we do good? You have to tell me if I did good. Only last night she was a charred mess under a mountain of a parachute. You barely managed to save her from the blue. But the messenger of luck slept only a few hours, and now, having borrowed an old crutch you fashioned for a sprained ankle, she is somehow back on her feet. You busy yourself with brewing your tea to stop yourself from staring. That smells good. Can we just not stare? Is that an option? Fucking shit. I mean, the scar at least is on your face, so it's not like I'm staring at a weird place. Although, if I stare at your leg, then I can be like, I'm just staring at the floor. Cause I do that. That's a thing I do. This is the... Sure, stare at the leg, I guess. She was barely conscious when you collected her from the cliffside last night, but she still cried out when you touched her leg. Must still hurt quite a bit, even with the medicine you gave her. But if she's in pain, she's doing a great job of hiding it. Her expression is beleaguered, but otherwise normal. Do I look like that much of a mess? You avert your eyes. Oh well, I'm not dead at least, thanks to you. Are you sure this isn't too much to ask? It's staying upstairs, I mean. I'm sure I can find an abandoned building to sleep in, and, to repair my parachute, of course. She shifts on her leg and then winces. Gesture at the scar on her cheek, and I'm numbing. Alright, I'll stay until I've recovered a little bit. Maybe I'll even have some tea while I'm here. Flying off her scheduled route. Why were you flying at night in the middle of a crazy-ass storm? Messengers never fly at night. The risks are just too great. Even in good weather, it's far too easy to get caught out in the dark. So why was she? Before you can ask, and perhaps anticipating that you will ask, she points up at the stairs behind you. I'm gonna make myself scarce, let you get back to it. I'll see you around. With your tea prepared, people start to come in and take their seats for the morning. Mal brought a new book today. You're not sure how many times he's read each of the works in his collection, but he happily lends them to you whenever you ask, and you still haven't had to reread anything. Must be massive. He sets the book down on the table on top of his scarf and gives you a warm smile when you bring him his usual mug. Cecily sighs and wipes a greasy hand off on her pants as she enters. Another late night at the shop, if you could venture a guess. She barely notices you bringing her tea. She's staring off into the middle distance, her mind's eye focused on something else. When she finally rejoins the room, she just barely stops herself from jumping at the sight of her tea. She meets your eye and gives you an apologetic smile. This time, Llewellyn. Google will help me. Please help me. How the hell is this? Is this a name? Oh, it is a name. Yes. I mean, a name that I can look up the pronunciation of. Jesus, of course it's a name. It's a name here. How do you say this? Help me. Just say the... Oh, I have to turn my audio. Llewellyn. Thank you. Go away now. This time, Llewellyn somehow manages to avoid spilling his papers all over the floor. But an errant notebook slips from beneath his arm, and he doesn't notice its absence until you bring it to him along with his tea. He thanks you profusely, but the possibility of further conversation is foreclosed by the allure of whatever is written in the book. You take the hint and return to tidying up the bar. You settle in at your place behind the bar, occupy yourself with preparing some tea leaves for roasting, and listen in on your guests' conversations. I'll bet you're ready for some good news. Hello to you too, Cecily. Don't play coy with me, you're on the edge of your seat. Okay, tell me. I have a sailcloth. What? How? Llewellyn called in a favor with the hemp farmers. Merrick delivered it for me last week. They couldn't get it as big as I wanted, but Edna and the kids found some scraps in one of the old mills, and with a little mending... The hemp farmers, are you sure they're trustworthy? Why not? They smuggled books to Llewellyn before, and they delivered. Smuggling books is one thing. Aiding in the construction of a flying machine is entirely different. You think they'll snitch on us after the fact? No, I'm just saying you need to be careful with who you trust with this project. Obviously, I didn't tell them everything. If they think about it for half a minute, they'll put 2 and 2 together. Look, I never work at night, okay? I stash my supplies in different buildings across the city. I have traps in my house so I can tell if someone breaks in. I have a lookout from my bedroom window, and sometimes I can't even sleep anymore. I'm so busy watching my back. All of this on your suggestion. Do you want me to build this or not? Cecily, No, you're right. I'm sorry. Of course I don't want you to stop. If you get this machine off the ground, you could change everything. I want to be a part of that. I just want to make sure that you have the chance to finish it. I know, just trust. I'm already doing whatever I can to be safe, okay? Of course. Now, if you have time this afternoon, I could use some help with the final schematics for the skeleton. Cecily produces a folio of papers from her bag. I'd love to. Mal, I wish you wouldn't scare me like that. Oh shit, nope, that's the wrong voice. Oh god. Does sipping tea and reading books scare you, Llewellyn? If so, you may be in the wrong place. What? No, why would you? Obviously, I'm talking about earlier today when I spotted you at the very edge of the cliff. I didn't realize you were there. Sorry to worry you. I was just having a look out with my oculars. The slightest breeze, and you would have fallen right off. Mel, you can't just stand at the edge of cliffs, okay? Thank you for your concern, but I had a handle on the situation. A handle? I saw no ropes, no tether, and I checked. No ropes, but I observed a high-pressure system due west and no significant cloud formations. In the wake of the storm last night, I decided it would be reasonably safe to stand closer to the edge to get a better look at the next island over. And I braced my feet against a boulder to be sure. Oh, I see. Well, I still think you should have... Tethers cause problems more often than they solve them. I saw enough snapped bones from irresponsible tethering when I was a captain to last me until now, and that was 40 years ago. Thought you would know all of this, Llewellyn. Aren't you a meteorologist? I always use a tether and I've never broken a bone, so... Oh wait, did you say captain? You heard me correctly. I know what I heard, but you can't possibly... You were the captain of... Llewellyn glances around and then leans in close across the table. You're too good at eavesdropping for this to work. The captain of an airship? The Fairwind. Spent a good 5 years in her service before the split. Oh, wow. You never said anything. Why didn't you... No. All I mean is, my parents told me stories to think I'd meet a captain in the flesh. But wait, weren't all the airship captains... Only the ships. I see. You think the wind is strong here, but we're protected by the other islands, especially on the northeast. Out in the open, well, you end up with a pretty good sense of balance. I'm still steady on my feet. Wish I could see it. You seemed pretty frightened before. No, of course, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'd be scared out of my mind, but still, I'd like to see it. So would I. With the wind patterns in this area, I'd recommend heading west first. You'll get a gentle ride all the way out to the donut. And then it's just a few short hops south, along the concourse, up the scrapyards, and back home. A perfect test ride. Is there any chance of unfavorable winds? What should I watch out for? Well, storms, of course. Cloud formations, wind speed, not too fast, but not too slow either. Keep an eye on the birds. They know the sky's better than you. But you know all this already, Cicely. You've done the research. You're right, thanks. In any case, the unmanned tests will give you all the information you need. We can make a more detailed flight plan once we've run them. Unmanned tests? Unmanned tests? I barely have the materials for one machine. Not to mention, what if someone finds out? No, we've only got one shot at this. Please, Cicely, we don't need to make a whole machine. If you give me a miniature, I can fill it with flare powder. And when it lands, the powder will explode. We'll watch for the flares, take measurements. How long will this take? No more than 2 months. Did you factor in procurement or alchemy? How much flare powder would you even need to run a full battery of tests? No, I didn't factor in procurement. And that would be, what, an extra 4 months under the watchful eye of our new messenger? At least, I would need time to find a new smuggler. You're probably looking at 6. I can't wait 8 months, Lou. I can't even wait 4 months. I know this isn't how you would do things. No, but it's how you're going to do them, I know. Good. Just don't fault me for worrying about you, Cicely. If something happened to you, well, all I'm saying is there are reasons to be cautious. Oh. Of course, don't worry, Lou. I'll come back to you as soon as I can. You finish your chores every day by pouring out the leftover tea onto the floors. Then you use that to wash them. Get on your hands and knees and scrub out the stresses of the day into the wood floors. Wipe them dry with a rag, then you sit down and take in the sunset. The room smells faintly of caramel and orange peel. Today Lux watches you from up in the rafters, but if she has any thoughts on your routine, she says nothing. Think about the Gulf. The Gulf seemed so much wider last night when sheets of rain and lightning separated you. It was as if the other islands had been blown away. Now, in the orange light, they seem to drift closer again. You look out over the horizon, taking them all in one at a time. And that's when it catches your eye. At first it looks like fog, but the way it catches the light is different. It's darker and thicker and seems to bring the night with it. That's not fog, that's smoke. You look up at Lux and you know she sees it too. So why doesn't she look surprised? What? By the time you get your lantern and your boots on, the sun has already sunk under the clouds. Mal's the only one you can think to turn to. When he answers the door, his head is still in a book on vertical gardening techniques for rooftops. But when he sees the look on your face, he snaps the book shut, grabs a quilted scarf from inside, and hurries out to come with you. Everyone on the island knows that Mal has the best eyes for the horizon. Only some know that he used to do this on the open sky. So when he climbs your tree and leans off the edge with his oculars, you don't question it. You know he won't lose his balance. Finally, he comes down and walks quietly to your balcony, where he continues to watch. There's a look? I don't know. I don't know what we're doing here. You aren't sure how to describe it. Is it shock, confusion, or excitement? Whatever it is, he turns to you and cuts off your thoughts. Look. He hands you the oculars. As soon as you press them against your face, Mal puts his hands over yours and gently angles them. Do you see it? You know what you're looking at almost instantly. Messenger headquarters is the largest structure built after the split, and by far the tallest on its island. It's tall, jagged, flanked by mountains, and surrounded by docks for its inhabitants. And right now it's glowing bright orange. Fire. For almost as long as you can remember, every week a messenger has landed on your island. In the early days, people crowded around the landing, and the messenger had to sew his pack shut with scrap fabric to keep all the letters from falling out. Keep the letters from your parents in a trunk beneath your bed. Every single one of them came in through that headquarters. The paper on which they're written was milled there. The ink that used to smudge on your tiny fingers was processed there. Fewer people come to the landing now, and for the most part they come out of routine instead of excitement. But you still time your weeks around the messenger's arrival. Your day still feels a little brighter when one of their letters is earmarked for you. If the mail stopped coming, even for just a month. Afraid for the island. Watch for the rest of the night as the smoke billows and the fire grows. Take turns with the oculars at first, but soon you no longer need them. You can see it with the naked eye. At some point, Lux joins you and watches from near the door, leaning on her crutch. You speak only to draw each other's attention, to a small explosion, to the echo of a sound you can't quite decipher, to smoking remains floating off into the clouds. Finally, dawn comes, but the fire rages on. With the sunlight, others begin to gather near the edge of the cliff. You bring tea out to them to keep them warm, but there are no conversations to overhear. The island's utterly absorbed in what's happened. For a few days, no one leaves their houses except to watch the flames. You can't remember the island ever feeling this tense. For one frightening evening, the wind blows the smoke towards the island, blanketing everything in an orange fog. Then in the morning it's gone. Somehow you know people will return today and they'll need tea. Damn. We get to make more tea? I want the black tea this time. Wait. I'm trying to plan ahead now. I mean, I'm sure that's not... It probably literally doesn't matter, right? Because there was absolutely no fucking mention of any... Although, if I remember correctly, the brief glance that I took at the store page for the game did mention that the tea affects, like, what people talk about, right? I don't remember. I'm not gonna lie, I have no clue. My time on a description for a game is simply to vibe check, and then I'm like, I'm in or I'm out, and that's all. We'll go with black tea, and then we'll go with the barley. Yeah. And then we'll go with I want to put the jasmine in there because I want to. What if I put them in a different order? Does it matter? Probably not. You prepare a brew of black tea with barley and jasmine. I should have done lavender and jasmine. I'm stupid. Oh well. It's fine. Mal has barely gone home since the fire started. He's busied himself with helping the others with their oculars and updating people on the condition of the headquarters. You overhear him telling someone that it's probably burned to the ground. He takes breaks in the cafe sometimes or out on the balcony. Once you catch him drifting off and set a blanket down next to him. This morning, though, with the smell of the tea, he seems to come back to himself. He stands out on the balcony for a long time and takes in the clear sky. Finally, he comes back inside. It's pretty much gone. Nothing but ashes left now. Someone needs to check on Flavia. A sad look passes over his face as he turns away. With your tea prepared, people start to come in and take their seats for the morning. Flavia has not slept since she learned of the fire. Her posture is steady and her footsteps graceful, but there are dark bags under her eyes and she can barely meet your gaze when she walks in. She downs the first cup you bring her in one gulp, which you take as a sign to bring her a second. Llewellyn can hardly take his eyes off the horizon. There's barely anything to see anymore. The smoke is too thick to see what's left of the messenger headquarters. But he still stands like a sentinel at the edge of the cliff each day. You're surprised he even made it in here. Despite the fear painted on his face, though, he still smiles and thanks you for the cup you bring to his table. Adelaide brings you a huge helping of baked goods today. Herbed bun, dough sticks, topped with goat cheese. Stop, I'm not even hungry, I just want to taste all of these. God dang it. Apple cookies made from the dried apples from last season. They smile when you bring their tea, but they seem more concerned that you're eating enough. You leave the pastries out for whoever wants them, but make sure to set aside a few for yourself. Settle in at your place behind the bar, occupy yourself with preparing some tea leaves for roasting, and listen in on your guests' conversations. So, you're the new messenger. Yes, I am. For what it's worth, you have my condolences. Oh, thank you? It can't be easy watching all this from afar, smelling the smoke on the breeze. It's certainly difficult, but I'm grateful the island has treated me so warmly. Yes. So, that's it? Excuse me. My father refuses to talk about it, but I can read a room. You two know each other. There's something heavy between you. And I can see the resemblance too. Are you my mother? Adelaide, you know my name? I apologize, Adelaide. Adelaide, I can't get involved. I promised Mel that I'm sorry. Did I do something wrong? That was a wild conversation to be, here as, an observer for. Holy shit. Hi, Lou. Wait, no, shit. Ah, fuck. Hi, Lou. I suppose you've come to chide me. This is what I get, right? For trusting them? Lou, no. I should be happy. You're so much safer now. Whoever survives that fire will have 100 other things to worry about. Maybe they'll even appreciate your work. Well, and this is petty and selfish of me. I'm sorry. Cicely stands up and pulls Llewellyn into her arms. Don't apologize. They did bad things, but they're people. Some of them are your friends. Of course you're terrified for them. Lou, I'm so sorry. Llewellyn says nothing. He clutches onto Cicely's back and buries his face in her shoulder. Flavia, perfect. You're just the person I was hoping to see. Really? Yes, I want to know about the emergency procedures on the Messenger's Island. How would they evacuate in the event of a disaster? Where would they go? Did they have access to enough parachutes? Should we prepare for any survivors here, or perhaps to somehow send resources to a renewed headquarters down the road? Merrick Marlowe, did you know him? He was our old messenger here. Do you think he made it out okay? Or perhaps he was on a new route somewhere else? What do you think? Mr. Waters, I apologize. I don't know. I have no idea. Are you sure? If you think back, maybe there's something we could do here to... I would prefer to be left alone. Of course. My apologies. You shut the door and anxiety bubbles up in your chest like a kettle on the flame. Did the fire really destroy the whole ass island? Like, why did they not get it? Did they try to get it under control? What the fuck happened here? You didn't realize how much having company over was helping you. Now the questions rush in to fill the silence. Will I ever hear from my parents again? You try to drown the questions out with your chores, but the effort is futile. Your work only reminds you of more things to worry about. Oh no, how will I get new seeds for my tea garden? Finally immobilized by the weight of the situation, you sit down at a table and hang your head in your hands, only to hear a knock at the door. I brought you some food. You let Adelaide in, their hands full with what sounds like a stack of lacquered wooden boxes wrapped in fabric. They set it down on a table, untie the fabric, and carefully lift the topmost box from the stack. They open the box to reveal an assortment of foods that might feed you for a whole week. Wow! Oh, hell yeah! This being Adelaide, there are baked goods of all kinds, but there are sliced fruits and vegetables too, and what looks like some sort of curry. Oh my god, I love you. It's that simple. Wow. Carefully cordoned off to one side by a wall of kale. I wish I'd been able to get these out sooner, but it's taken me days to finish making it all. I had to scavenge a cauldron big enough for the curry from the old mill. I washed it out pretty good. Hopefully I didn't miss any rust or anything. Look, I know you got letters from your parents pretty often. I can't imagine what it would be like not to be able to talk to my dad at all. Not knowing if I'd ever hear from him again. I just hope you're taking care of yourself. Adelaide repacks the rest of their boxes. You pour them a flagon full of today's leftover tea and make sure it sits safely on their shoulder. As they turn to leave, you see a flicker of recognition in their eyes. You're on the same shift now, caring for others in the only way you know how. This time after they leave, the questions don't come back. You tear a piece of braided bread in half and dip it in the curry. The food makes you feel pleasantly drowsy. You haven't slept well since the fire. You decide to leave the rest of your chores undone. Perhaps you'll close the cafe tomorrow. You put away what's left of the box and head up to bed. As soon as your head hits the pillow, you drift off to sleep. The windy season comes in and fills the air with pollen from the poplars across the Gulf. A few weeks have passed since the messenger headquarters burned down. No one has landed on the island since then. No one is used to the silence. You often catch people pacing at the landing or staring out with their oculars across the gulfs. But it's not all bad. You didn't realize until they were gone the tension the messengers brought to this place. You've listened to countless hushed conversations, whispers of smuggling, conspiracy theories, fears of parachutes on the horizon. Those have been silenced too, and their absence is serene. What's more, people have begun to speak more openly about what they've endured. They talk about messages lost in the mail or peppered with black marks. There were always subjects you knew not to broach if you wanted your letter to get to its recipient. They list the technologies that were stamped out, their inventors blacklisted from the messaging service and effectively lost to their loved ones. They draw crude maps with memory and guesswork and count all the islands that no one has heard from. Feels like drawing a wound you didn't know you had, draining a wound you didn't know you had. All you could feel before was the itch of the infection, and now everything hurts. But it feels better, too. And amidst all of this, Adelaide comes every week with a fresh box of food. Oh, hell yeah, cinema roll. Flavia comes around more often now, too. Usually, she just sits out on the balcony where it's too windy these days to be comfortable for anyone else. Sometimes she comes to sit with you in the evenings, and you sip tea together and talk about frivolous things. The weather, how the garden's tolerating the wind, Flavia's allergies from the pollen. One day, after a long silence, she leans back in her chair and stares out at the last dregs of sunset. What am I supposed to do now? I mean, you could stay here. You open your mouth to speak, but Flavia stands up before you can. Without a word, she walks to the door, hands behind her back, and leaves. The next day, while you're picking the leaves for your tea, you spot Flavia at the landing, airing out her parachute. Well, oh, what comes next, hey? I love the little animations in this. Which bass note indeed? Let's go with this one. Green tea. I'm using the lavender this time. And the hell does rose taste like? We'll find out. No, we won't. They don't tell me what this tastes like or if it tastes good or bad. I'll never know. You prepare a brew of green tea with lavender and rose. Making tea has finally started to feel normal again. Until now, it's been your port in the storm of the past few weeks, and the only way you knew how to help. Today, though, it's how it was before the fire. Simply something you do every day. Because you enjoy it. I have no idea if I'm good at it. You haven't told me how any of this tea tastes yet. And because it lets you listen in on what other people are talking about, of course, obviously. You take your place behind the bar. With your tea prepared, people start to come in and take their seats for the morning. Lux is noticeably lighter on her feet these days. You've made plans to take the cast off in a few days, but you get the sense she's nervous. What will the others do with her once she's fully healed? You don't know the answer either, but she at least knows that she has your support. This time, she insists on coming up to get the tea herself, and you let her. Mel has been spending a lot of time on the cliffs lately. Today, he has a windswept look about him. His jacket is a little tousled, and his fingers seem pretty cold from the eagerness with which he warms them up on the tea. He has a book on flying machines. You've seen it before, but he's not hiding it anymore. Adelie looks a little tired. Their fingernails are caked with flour, and their vest is lightly powdered with stuff. They're probably still spending most of their days baking, even now that things have calmed down. But along with the exhaustion, there's something else. Self-assurance, perhaps, or decisiveness? You're not sure whether it's the gratitude they've received from the island or something else, but they move with purpose in a way that they never used to. Today's pastry is hand pies filled with mashed sweet potato and raisins. I want all of these. I don't think you understand. I fucking need them. Take a moment to enjoy it while it's still hot. You settle in at your place behind the bar, occupy yourself with preparing some tea leaves for roasting, and listen in on your guests' conversations. Hey Lux, would you mind some company? Please. It's a shame that we haven't spoken much until now. I admit I've been admiring you a little from afar. Oh? Our host gave me one of your herbed buns. It was incredible. The best thing I've eaten in years. Oh, my buns. You should have told me sooner. I'm always happy to make extras. You know, I've been sneaking glances at you too. It's not every day we get someone new on the island, least of all someone so intriguing. You weren't put off by the fire? Not really. Lots of people were, but I figured things were more complicated. Besides, I think it added to the intrigue. Well, that's good to know. But I guess that's all in the past now. Whatever people thought before, most of them have made their peace with never knowing. Actually, I wanted to ask for your thoughts. I think I want to leave the island. Oh, really? I don't know how yet. With the messengers gone, I'll have to find my own way. But during the fire, I felt so in the dark, like everyone around me knew something that I didn't. How did you decide to join the messengers? What made you want to leave your home behind? I didn't have much of a home to begin with. My mother died when I was young, and I didn't really connect with anyone else on the island. So when I came of age, it just seemed like the thing to do, I guess. That's how they got most of us. What do you mean? The older ones, like Flavia's age, they wanted to put the pieces of the old world back together. They thought if they just delivered enough letters, maybe they could fix things. But those of us who grew up after the split, I think a lot of us just felt adrift. We had no letters of our own to send. We didn't even know anyone on the other islands. We just assumed that the things we were missing were somewhere else. Did you find them? The things you were missing, I mean. Not yet, but now that the messengers are gone, I think I just might. So, what are you gonna do now that things have calmed down? That's a good question. Right now, all I want to do is rest. Besides, my parachute was destroyed in the storm, so it's not like I can just up and leave. So I guess I'll be here for a while. I'm sorry to hear about your parachute. It's not so bad. I haven't had good tea since I was a child. And the company is excellent. Would you be open to more of it while you're here? I'd love nothing more. Nice. Hey, Dad. Hello, Addie. I heard you were one of the first ones to see the fire. I heard you were the first one to see the fire, actually.
Yes, I was.
That must have been intense.
It was certainly unexpected.
How are you feeling about it?
Well, I'm sure everyone must be feeling rather unsettled. Most of us grew to accept the messenger's role in our lives, even if we didn't approve of it. Now, we don't know if we'll ever receive mail ever again.
That sounds overwhelming. I've only ever received baking recipes. To think you'll never hear from your friends again must be really hard to think about.
It'll certainly be an adjustment for the whole island.
I know about the whole island already, but what about you, Dad?
Me? I'm not sure what to say, Addie. I'm adjusting.
You can tell me more than that, you know. I've heard your stories. You captained an airship. You could have single-handedly delivered all the mail in the archipelago. Even carried cargo or, people. You must feel something about this. It's alright if you're frustrated or regretful or even happy. I won't judge you. Just let me in.
Addie, I want to share my feelings with you. I do. I just don't know how to communicate them in a way you'll understand.
Do I have to understand them?
No, you don't. I'm sorry. Thank you for communicating your frustration with me. I'll try to do better next time, Adelaide. I'll see you for dinner.
But you still didn't let me in.
You're Lux, right? I'm sorry we haven't had the chance to speak yet.
Don't worry. I've seen you on the cliffs helping the others. I can tell you've been busy. You must be Mal.
Am I that infamous?
If you are, I wouldn't know. Most people here are still afraid to talk to me.
I'm sorry to hear that.
It's alright. I understand how they feel. Actually, I know about you because of Emmerich.
What did you say?
He said you'd be supportive.
Are you serious? If you're lying, messenger.
I'm not. My route was in the Western Corridor. I went to the factories every other week. I deliver your letters and his.
Did he help you plan this?
I didn't plan this. I planned nothing but an emergency kit in case I needed to disappear, in case it got to be too much. I told Emmerich about it and he said you would protect me. So when things went south, I came here.
I'm sorry. I have to go.
As you do your chores this evening, you catch yourself asking questions again. Oh, Lord. What the heck is going to happen to this whole ass archipelago? Some researchers theorize that long ago the old city used to be just one part of something much bigger. There are people who believe the split was only the latest in a string of breaks. You don't know what to make of that, but Mal has told you stories of faraway islands and the people who live there. People who grow different foods and speak in ways you wouldn't understand. If there are other people out there, have they lived through splits like the archipelago has? How did they cope? Did they find some way to stop it or even to reverse it? The questions don't scare you though. There will come a time when the island gathers and works out together how to answer them. Until then, you'll just have to imagine what might happen. The prospect of that used to scare you, but now you feel strong enough to give it a try. You look outside after finishing your chores and spot Cecily up on the hill. She's bending over to hold some sort of massive contraption. It resembles a bird's wings in flight. Every so often, she has to stop it from catching the wind and flying away. She kneels down for a moment, fidgets with something, and when she stands back up, she is strapped into her machine. She stands utterly still for a moment. Then she takes off in a run and leaps into the air. Ah, hell yeah. As the island prepares to decide what to do next, people come and go more frequently. You're so busy trying to keep up that sometimes you forget to make tea at all. Still, people come just to sit, and as usual, you catch snippets of conversations.
Hey Lou, I'm glad I caught you.
Oh, yes? Did you want to go over the goose migration patterns again? I don't think you'll run into any problems as long as you launch in the next 4 months. We'll have to keep our eyes out after that, though.
Actually, I don't want to talk shop today. But there was something else on my mind.
Oh?
Should we talk about this before I launch?
This?
Us.
Us? Oh, us. I mean, do you want to talk about us?
I don't know. Before I thought I didn't want any distractions. But also I was so sure that something was gonna happen to me. I didn't want to hurt you or worse, implicate you. But things are safer now. If anything, it'll be the wind that gets me. And if that happens, I don't want you to... I just don't want to go down with any regrets.
And you'd regret not with me?
You don't have to put it that way, ugh. But, yeah.
Oh, Cecily, I was hoping you wouldn't say anything.
Wait, really?
I was hoping... it's silly. I had this idea in my head that I'd string lanterns by the docks for when you got back from your first flight. Flowers, some food, maybe, I don't know, a blanket.
A blanket?
You get cold easily. You'd want one. The point is, I had it all planned out.
Well, sorry to ruin your romantic gesture.
No. Imagine flying all day and coming home to an awkward conversation about my feelings. No, this is better. Awkward now, romantic later. Of course I have feelings for you, Cecily. I've felt this way for so long.
Me too, Lou. It's a little silly we haven't talked about it until now.
Yeah.
Let's keep talking then. How about a walk later?
I'd like that. Lex has moved into an empty building across the garden. Adelaide has finally relaxed their baking schedule, and Flavia seems content on her own. You finally have the place to yourself again. You wipe the tables and floors and wash every cup until they're spotless. Fix yourself a meal and read a book by the light of your lantern. Finally, you sit at the window and look out at the lights on the other side of the Gulf. Something catches your eye this time. One of the lights is moving a bit, and then abruptly it stops. You open up your oculars, squint into them, and focus in on the light. Through the dark and the fog, you can just make out the outline of another person looking back at you. Oh, congratulations on completing your first playthrough of the Archipelago. Play again and make different teas to experience new interactions and storylines. Aha! Hold on, there's a skip button. Also, the knowledge... Oh. Well. I need to stretch. Oh my god, ow. That was the Archipelago. Personally, I mean, I'll probably do another playthrough, but not recorded. If you want to see more. It's a free game, so like, fucking go ham. Go see all of the different outcomes. I don't know if... I wonder if, like, the tea... Because clearly it affects the interactions that you are witness to, right? But I wonder if, like, that affects what happens overall. Like, obviously the fire still gotta happen, right? But, like... just like as far as people's choices of what they do, like Flavia seemed like she was gonna leave and then she didn't. And who the heck was that at the end? I'm just so curious. Anyways. Yep, that was the Archipelago. I hope you enjoyed. If you did and you want to check it out further, I will have a link for it. But yep, have a good one. Take care. Bye.